Lesson 4 is reviewing exponents and square roots. This is what you guys are going to be working with when we start doing the Pythagorean theorem in class. Squares. Anytime you have a number squared, it means you're just multiplying the number by itself 2 times. So 4 squared is the same thing as 4 times 4. 5 squared is the same thing as 5 times 5. 3 squared is 3 times 3. 2 squared is 2 times 2. 12 squared, again, would be 12 times 12. All of those are equal to what is given. In your notes, put down what 8 squared, 6 squared, 10 squared, and 11 squared would look like written out, and then what their answer is. I will be checking this tomorrow to make sure you have it done. Square roots is the opposite of squaring something. So when we think about it, the negative is the opposite of a positive number, and multiplying is the opposite of dividing, adding is the opposite of subtracting, the opposite of squaring is taking the square root. On your calculator, in order to hit the square root button, you would hit second x squared, and that will pop up your square root button. So the square root of 49 is 7, because 7 squared gives you 49. The square root of 100 is 10, and we know that because 10 squared gives me 100. The square root of 36 is 6, and again, 6 squared gives me 36. The square root of 25 is 5, again, because 5 squared is 25. You can always do the square root of any number except for certain numbers, which we will get into later this year. But even if the number is not a perfect square number, meaning you get a whole number, you can still get a decimal, and that would be considered a rational or irrational number, depending on the decimal. In your notes, go ahead and tell me what the square root of 16, the square root of 64, and the square root of 121 is. Again, I'll be checking this tomorrow to make sure you've completed it. Reviewing of triangles. We're going to start working with 90-degree triangles. And again, a triangle has 3 sides. We've talked about that for a few days now, especially using the angle legs to make your triangles. The only thing you need to remember about this is that when you're given a 90-degree right triangle, there's the little box wherever the 90-degree angle is to prove to you that it's a 90-degree angle. Do not assume looking at the drawing that a triangle is 90 degrees or a right triangle unless it has the box. Again, don't do that because realistically it's not always drawn to scale, and you'll realize that more when we get into the geometry section of things later this year.